discussions to bring forth the project that Siaya has, and we can look forward to onboarding investors. So I'll start with introduction from Siaya side. My name is Grace Agola. I'm the CCM for Trade, Cooperative, Enterprise, and Industrialization, Siaya. So the Siaya fraternity, kindly do your introduction fast enough before we progress. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kokoth Sylvester. I'm the County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Food Security, Livestock, and Blue Economy County Government of Siaya.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Koga, liaison officer working in the county government of Siaya.
As we wait others to join, we can proceed with the introduction from other departments and agencies. Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, we've done the introduction for the people from Siaya who are already on web. So we can progress the introduction to the next agencies or departments or individuals who have joined.
My name is Gertrude from the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. We are happy to host the sector webinars on behalf of the Trade PS. Karibuni sana.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Okay, my name is Tanui Joel from the National Irrigation Authority. I'm the Director of Operations and Irrigation Management Services. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bernard.
I'm Bernard Owinga, Principal Industrial Development Officer from the County Government of Siaya, and I'm also the Head of Secretariat for the forthcoming conference.
Good afternoon.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is Philip Oloriaro, the Director of Agriculture and Natural Resources of Lake Basin Development Authority. Thank you.
Okay. I would want to say that rice farming majorly is going to be given more details by the Waziri Sylvester Kokoth, who is the CCM for agriculture in Siaya. But before he can take us through what exactly we have in Siaya in terms of farming of rice, I'll want to say that Siaya is having its first international trade and investment conference that is going to be held in Siaya town on March 25th to 28th. In the investment We are going to sign off some of our investors that are going to come to really, we will onboard them down here in Siaya. And then we are also going to showcase the potential of Siaya in terms of investment. And that one we are going to do on 25th, the pre-conference day, where we are going to have groups having site visits at various places that we are going to schedule. And we're going also to put them on the website so that people can register where they would want to go. While they are going to be in those sites, we are also going to capture videos that are going to be shared on our third day for each one of us who will have not gone to other areas to see the potential that exists. That is the first day of the conference, which is going to be a pre-conference day. After that, we're going to have 3 days of the conference. We're going to have various presentations from business and investors that really have insights of what exactly is expected of investment for those who would want to come and invest in Siaya. And we are looking forward to working with the government, the national government agencies, all the county governments in Kenya that are going to come. We are going to work with the private investors, donor community, partners, and all the juakalis we have here in Siaya. We are going also to have the time and also breakout. And more so, agriculture sector is going to be the center place. We're also going to have to look into health investment, because in Siaya, we also have a disease burden. Those are the major on a preview that we'll have to look into. And apart from that, we'll also have exhibitions that will also encourage people to come and exhibit. We already have done what is called a website for registration. This week, we want to bring it out so that we can really start talking about the investment in Siaya that is forthcoming. So those are the things I wanted to tell each one of us before we progress. And I would wish to request the National Irrigation Authority to take us through what exactly they're doing in Siaya currently, and the potential and even the future that we can say that Siaya is going to have or be a great producer of rice in the country. We were expecting PS or the CEO or the representative of the Irrigation Authority to talk to us in that regard. I would welcome you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Grace. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Tanui Joel, and I've been in touch with the PS since morning on this conference. And as we speak, he's currently in a meeting with the Deputy President, and he has told me to pick up and get started with the discussion. He will join us at a point. He will be able to join us. So allow me then to mention a few things. And first of all, thank you for your invitation and for this very noble idea and one of its kind that we have narrowed down specifically to the rice value chain. Myself, I've had an opportunity of working in Siaya County in my early years as a manager Bunyala Irrigation Scheme, way back when we were initiating irrigation development in Bunyala. Then we extended to Siaya section, that is the Mulua side, covering all the way to Alego Usonga. And I think I was one of the pioneers who started the canals that took water to the Siaya side of the irrigation. And from then on, it continued growing up to where it is now. So we are very proud when we see rice farmers in that section of Usonga expanding and investing even in rice mills and modern farming techniques. And we applaud the county government of Siaya for giving them maximum support to ensure that they thrive in their business of rice production and marketing. For sure, a lot has happened in that region, courtesy of the county government of Siaya and your intervention. So, as a national government, you are aware that rice has continued to be a crop of major concern when it comes to production and consumption. And statistics speak for itself. When you see a country with a consumption of 1,000,000 and around 50,000 metric tons against a production of an average of 300,000 metric tons, we continue to have a huge deficit, which we bridge through importation, costing us hugely, almost up to between 50 to 56 billion annually. So that's quite substantive. So the current priority of the government, therefore, is on food security, agricultural transformation, and investment in agribusiness. And this has been clearly highlighted in one of the pillars in the current government's manifesto. And we have narrowed down specifically to the rice value chain. So as a State Department for Irrigation, we are making deliberate effort to investments in this region in terms of rice expansion, infrastructure development, and even developing the rice value chain itself. Of course, we have other regions like Mwea, Ahero, Taita Taveta, currently Tana River, who are producing rice. But if you combine all of them, we are still, so therefore, there presents itself opportunities to expand our local production to meet the rice demand. And Siaya County has proved to be one of the regions that holds the key to self-sufficiency in rice production. So it is one key area that is well blessed with abundant water resource, land, and the people themselves, the active farmers who are there. So we are really shifting our focus now to Siaya County. You are well aware of the Lower Nzoia Irrigation Development Project that has tapped water from Nzoia River, supplying all the way through Siaya to the Budalangi section. So as a national government, we are making efforts to make sure that the project is completed within time to be able to open up the land under irrigation, especially in Siaya side, from what is currently being irrigated of around 2,000 acres. And we want to move the rice component to more than 3,500 acres. And that will be quite a breakthrough in terms of rice production. The other investment opportunities that we are looking into in Siaya County, apart from just expansion of the irrigation scheme, we are looking at encouraging mechanization and modernization of rice farms to increase productivity. We want to create an enabling environment for private investors to tap into mechanization, right from transplanting of rice, weeding of rice, chemical application, harvesting, and finally standardization or drying of the same to meet the quality demand of the market. So there presents itself an opportunity for different investors. We are also looking at creating an enabling environment for seed production and supply chain improvement within Siaya County so that we have improved rice varieties, improved seed. And this is one area, even the private investors, and I'm happy there is one investor along Kisumu, Siaya side who has tapped into investments in seed multiplication and seed production. So these are the kind of investors we want to create environment for them to do seed production. We also have investments in rice milling and value addition. As the demand continues to rise, there is therefore an opportunity for modern milling technology. There is also opportunities for storage and packaging. I know Siaya County has invested in a modern rice mill, but there is still opportunity for large-scale investment in modern milling and packaging. Warehouse receipt system is one of the areas that has not been explored in any part of the country in terms of rice storage and marketing. So it's one area that presents an opportunity for engagement amongst the traders. Of course, apart from milling, there is opportunity for value-added rice products, particularly fortified rice, rice bran oil, and even the animal feed industry that can thrive very well. Yeah, that will be encouraging investors when we come to the conference to invest in this line. Did I?
Yes, now you are audible. You are almost getting lost.
Okay.
Yes, you are
okay.
audible. You are almost getting lost.
I hope I didn't lose. We didn't lose one another very far away.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. So I was on my last points in terms of government support and policy framework. And what we are doing about it is we want to create incentives for the investors who will be coming to Siaya County, particularly on the land access and also subsidies, just like what we have done in other regions. We want to also encourage financing and partnerships, especially the role of banks, microfinance institutions, so that they can invest in the rice value chains. Of interest to us is public-private partnerships in rice irrigation and milling. This is one area that has not been tapped in the past, and therefore we are looking forward to creating an environment or business models for private investors to support our farmers, either through contract farms and farming and of taking of the final produce. So as I wind up is to encourage the investors who will be joining us and who will be here today to tap into the rice value chain in Siaya. And we look forward to field visits with them to be able to understand the rice value chain and be able to look into existing opportunities. So I don't want to take much of your time. Allow me, therefore, to end there. And when the PS and the CEO join us, we will continue the debate from there. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel Tanui, for that broad spectrum of what exactly we have in Siaya. Now, I wanted to ask if is it the resheeting system, the individual who is concerned to share what exactly Siaya can use and tap into that model to ensure that the production and off-taking is streamlined.
Yes, thank you. We are actually signing an MOU with Warehouse Receipts Receipting Limited, a company that is specializing on warehouse receipt system, and courtesy of the PS for Trade, who has actually played a key role in this warehouse system. They actually visited Siaya, Ahero, and Migori on a scouting mission on investments in warehouse. So they are one of the key people. If you allow, we'll be inviting them to join us in the Siaya Investment Conference so that they can share with us areas of partnerships and areas of investments they are working on. As we speak now, they're in Ahero checking on areas of investments within that region. So we will invite them to join us in Siaya.
Thank you, Joel. I'm asking that if they are joining us, will they want to be the conveners of the breakaway for rice farming, or how will they give us the knowledge for the rice processes?
You know, I know the first entry point for them, of course, is on the tail end of the rice value chain. That is the post-harvest processing, storage, and eventually marketing. So what we look into with them is an engagement or an MOU with the county government so that we're able to mobilize farmers for them. So they will carry out a sensitization on their models and how it has succeeded in other regions. And therefore, they may not be the only conveners for the activity, but they'll be just taking part in one component of the rice value chain, that is the post-harvest part. So I suggest as we prepare for the conference, we will have those players who are in production, those players in inputs, those players in aggregation, and those players in milling and marketing. So I think we will give them the component of the post-harvest handling and marketing of the same. So I think I'll reach out to their CEO for guidance on the same.
Thank you so much, Joel. I think we can progress now to my colleague Sylvester before we can allow Q&A as we await for the PS Trade to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Waziri Grace Agula, our convener. My brother Joel Kanui, who's just made his presentation and who introduced the canals to my sub-county of Alego Songa from Busia. Thank you for that. Once again, let me introduce myself. My name is Paul Sylvester. I'm the County Executive Committee member for Agriculture, Food Security, Livestock and Blue Economy from the County Government of Siaya. And I want to start by saying why rice? Why are we discussing rice and not tea, cocoa, or any other crop? Rice is important to us as a nation, and rice is also important to us as a county government of Siaya. And that is because rice is the third most important staple cereal in Kenya after maize and wheat. And the annual demand for rice in Kenya stands at 12%. Our annual consumption of rice in Kenya currently stands at 949,000 metric tons, against our production, which as a country, which stands at 180,000 metric tons. So from that data alone, you can see that what we produce is barely 20-25% of our annual rice requirement. And it is estimated that by the year 2030, our demand will have risen to 1,290,000 metric tons. If any of us seated here or listening in this webinar today were to visit any supermarket in Kenya, you will realize that on the shelves of cereals or fast consumer goods where rice sits, almost 75% of the brands of rice that you'll find in those supermarkets is imported from Pakistan, from India, from Korea, and from some of those, even in Vietnam, and those very small islands in Asian subcontinent. And that is a challenge to us as a country. That is a challenge to us. 26%, that is about 1.5 hectares of land, arable land in Kenya, is suitable for rice production. And that beats the logic on why 75% of rice is coming to Kenya from very small islands in Asia. Siaya County is one of the 8 counties in Kenya that have got huge potential for production of rice. And currently, our production stands at 7,508 metric tons, which is just about 4.18% of the rice that is produced in Kenya. But we want to announce to the world that we have potential as Siaya County. And with the Lower Nzoia irrigation project, we expect to release an additional 20,000 acres of land under rice production. If we check on our bottom-up economic transformation agenda, we realize that the current government is very focused on transforming agriculture. And one of the things that His Excellency, the President, William Samoei Ruto, has been emphasizing is that we can no longer remain producers of raw materials that is exported to the West, and we can no longer remain consumers of produce and products that we can produce locally. He has cited the leather sector severally, that we slaughter hundreds of thousands of animals, goats and cows every weekend in funerals and weddings. And yet the shoes and the belts and the handbags that we wear is imported from Turkey, from Egypt, and from Ethiopia. And that is because we have not invested in value addition. So our hides and skins is exported from Northeastern or from parts of Kajiado and Narok, and then value added in a distant land somewhere in Turkey or in Egypt or in Addis Ababa or in other places, and then sold back to us at very high prices. Under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the government is very keen, number one, on reducing the amount of money we spend to import what we can produce locally. One of those things that we can produce locally and we are importing 75% of is rice. Moving to the county of Siaya, I want to mention that His Excellency Oborem believes and strongly believes so that agriculture is the anchor of our economic transformation. In our governor's 9-point agenda, when he was campaigning in Siaya, the agenda number 2 in campaign that he promised he would do for the people of Siaya is to transform agriculture from subsistence farming to a commercially oriented agribusiness. And His Excellency the Governor has gone ahead to invest heavily in the agriculture sector over the 2 years that he's been in government. Some investments include funding agricultural subsidies, which include rice seed, maize seed, sorghum seed, and cotton seed to commercialize agriculture. We have also invested heavily on procurement of and distribution of fertilizer at subsidized prices. We have also invested in provision of tractor hire services at subsidized prices, where we, for the last 2 years, we've been charging a mere 2,500 shillings per acre, which we just changed this long range season, 3,000 shillings per acre, when the private investors are charging between 4,500 and 6,000 Kenya shillings. Coming specifically to rice, on the issue of tractor hire services, I want to mention to the audience that we currently have tractors in Anyiko Ujuanga rice scheme, which is one of our hotspots for rice production in East Kenya. We have 3 tractors that have been there for 1 week, and we have another 2 tractors in Usonga Siriwo, which is our next hotspot for rice production. The county government of Siaya has invested in development of drying floors in Tonga, and even in our current budget of 2024-25 financial year, we have set aside and we have a contractor on site for expansion of our rice drying floor at Usonga Siriwo rice mill at the cost of 6 million. We have invested in warehouses, and we have a 20,000 warehouse capacity already built in Usonga. And under the National Agricultural Value Chains Development Project, which is a World Bank and Government of Kenya funded project, together with the counties, we intend to construct financial year 2 warehouses, one for paddy rice and another one for processed rice, at an estimated cost of 40 million Kenya shillings. And that is at the compound where our modern mill is situated in Usonga. We have a modern rice mill, as my brother Joel Tanui already mentioned before in his presentation, which can process 2.5 metric tons of paddy per hour. And I also want to mention that we have another rice that was being run by Dominion Farms that has a higher capacity than even the one in Usonga. I believe that Honorable Sami Wea is in the house and will be able to mention something about the other rice mill that was under Dominion Farms. On 2 attempts, we have tried to onboard a strategic investor under the private-public partnership arrangement, and we haven't been able to get a successful private investor to run the Usonga Siriwo rice processing facility. So on this, I would want to persuade any investor who is listening to us and coming to the Siaya International Investment Conference within in the course of this month to come and visit our sites, visit the modern mill that we've constructed in Usonga Siriwo, and I believe we'll be able to strike a very good deal, and they will appreciate that the county government has done very encouraging investments down there on the rice value chain. There are a number of opportunities in Siaya under the rice value chain, and I want to mention that the potential for production of rice in Siaya is enormous. We have several wards out of our 30 wards. More than half of them can be producers of rice or can prioritize on rice as their key commercial. Our current production stands at, as I mentioned, 7,518 metric tons. But with the Loans Oya, we hope that will increase tremendously. We have the potential to directly benefit over 14,200 households under the rice value chain. Our current production per acre stands at 2,000. And 500 against a potential services that if we can do proper agricultural practices and agronomy, then that production should move to the optimum level, and we can be able to produce 4 tons of rice per acre. Coming now down to where are the investment opportunities under the rice value chain in Siaya. Number 1 is on rice production and farming. We can invest in irrigation infrastructure to ensure year to year or all year round production. Currently, our production is only done within 1 cycle. And we know that with the proper irrigation infrastructure and with the help and of the infrastructure laid by the Loans Oya irrigation project, we can invest in that irrigation infrastructure and have even 3 cycles of production of rice in a year. There is room for investing in mechanized rice farming through provision of tractors, rotovators, planters, combine harvesters, and this will increase the acreage under production and will improve on production on farm, and will also help us manage the post-harvest losses that we incur because we do not have combined harvesters or proper machinery to manage the rice farms. There is investment opportunities in the post-harvest management through spraying technology and managing the birds. Fortunately enough, Siaya has not been affected gravely the way Ahero rice farmers have. There was a time Ahero rice lost almost half of its rice to the birds. And there were complaints that the way they were managing the birds through spraying had some environmental concerns that were affecting the ecosystems within that place. So there is opportunity to invest on how do we manage the pests and the birds that attack our rice farms. Rice seed production and seed bulking, as had been mentioned by Joel, is also another area where we can invest. Our second area for investment is on rice processing and value addition. We can have modern mills with expanded acreage under rice. It means that we need modern equipment for processing and for managing the byproducts that come from rice. And with the processing and value addition, there are also opportunities for branding and packaging. So we can establish brands of locally grown and processed rice that can be sold at our local, regional, and international markets, as has been confirmed that the demand for rice will keep increasing at about 12% per year. There are byproducts that will come from this rice processing, which include husks that can be used for making animal feeds, that can be used for production of briquettes, that is used for cooking, and can also be used by our farmers to do composting of organic fertilizers. The third area that presents opportunities for investment is on storage and logistics. We do not have adequate recommended warehouse facilities for storage of rice and other cereals. And I think there is room for investing in this to reduce the post-harvest losses by providing proper storage solutions. And that is a good opportunity for investments. As I've mentioned before, under the NAV-CDP, National Agricultural Value Chains Development Project, we intend to construct additional warehouses, but that will not be sufficient. I believe there are other warehouses at where former Dominion farms used to operate. I may not be privy to what capacity it has. If somebody has, will share with us. But with that in mind, I still believe that there is room for investment in warehousing and logistics. Rice transporting and distribution is also another area where we can have investors come in to provide efficient market access and logistics of rice and distribution. Our fourth area for investors is on agribusiness, services, and inputs. Inputs like agrochemicals, fertilizer, and certified seeds of rice presents a very good opportunity for investors to tap into and supply the essential inputs to farmers, farmer groups, and cooperative organizations like Anyiko Yuanga Cooperative Society and Usonga Siriwo Rice Farmers Cooperative Society that normally travel very long distances to go and procure these inputs. On farmer training and extension, I want to also register that under the same program, National Agricultural Value Chains Development Project, we have onboarded about 9 agripreneurs who will be assisting the farmers generally on good agricultural practices. And there are still opportunities for having rice-specific agronomists who can engage with the farmers and farm organizations and cooperatives to provide the farmers with good agricultural practices that are specific to the rice value chain. The opportunities on irrigation equipment supply that selling of pumps, selling of pipes, and other irrigation tools and equipment to farmers and farmer groups for increased production. And lastly, there are opportunities under the export and trade, regional and international markets. We can tap into that because there is demand for rice and there's demand for Kenyan rice by our neighboring counties and countries, including our neighbor Uganda, that has been procuring the rice that come from Busia and the Usonga area. So it means that if we can process that rice, then the market can be expanded to DRC, to Rwanda, and to Burundi. And that presents us with another opportunity for export trade. And under the Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 17, which talks about building on collaborations and partnerships. We can have partnerships with cooperatives and governments by collaborating with both national and county governments to benefit from their valuable incentives that come from national government, come from county governments, and that come from the cooperative structures that exist within Siaya County. I want to mention as I finish that there are proper legal and legislative frameworks that support investments in the rice value chain. And to mention just a few of them, the Irrigation Act 2019 provides for irrigation agriculture. And just last week, the county government of Siaya cabinet passed a bill on establishment of county irrigation development units that my colleague in charge of water and irrigation will be establishing very soon, and that will work for expanding irrigation activities under agriculture and for under the rice value chain in the whole county. We have the agriculture, which also talks about rice. Crops Act has rice as one of the key value chains. The National Cereals and Produce Board Act, Part 338, Kenya Vision. We have the National Rice Development Strategy, which runs from 2019 to 2030 and aims to make Kenya self-sufficient in rice production by the year 2030. It's against this and the bottoms-up economic transformation agenda and the Nyalore manifesto that focuses on making Siaya and the region food and nutrition secure, that we are deeply persuaded that anybody who
Sylvester, are you still there?
I just finished my presentation. I don't know if I lost you at some point.
Yes, you lost us.
At what point?
We didn't hear you when you finish.
Then it means you had everything except the full stop.
Thank you so much, but maybe
I can repeat my last statement, if you allow.
Yes, kindly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Waziri Grace. What I attempted to say in my final statement is that any investor who is keen on investing in the rice value chain and any agricultural value chain in Siaya is assured from us, the Nyalore administration, that he will get the full support. There is adequate goodwill from His Excellency, our governor, on transforming agriculture from subsistence to commercial. He has already invested a lot in that, and we are ready to provide whatever incentives that will be required to make an investor settle and change lives and also make profits for its institution in the county called Siaya. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Waziri. Makofi. That's good presentation. What you needed to remind ourselves is that when they come, the human resource is available. This is the land of heroes. The brain work is at peace. We only need where to work at. With those explanations and all the input that Waziri have talked about in regard to rice and value chain on rice, I would wish to invite, I've seen CEO Kidenda, if he has something to add to improve on the offtake of that rice before we go to Q&A. Welcome, CEO Kidenda.
Thank you, Waziri. Good afternoon to my fellow panelists and all those who are participating in this. My apologies for joining in late. I was held up at another meeting that also was discussing similar issues together with the PS for Trade. But I've listened keenly to the last presentation that was made, and I'm actually quite pleased that the raft of investment opportunities that exist in Siaya and what the county government of Siaya is doing towards ensuring that we can improve the livelihood of farmers, and especially within the rice belt. Now, my intervention today will basically touch on what the commodity exchange brings in terms of a value proposition, but I will also tie that up together with what the warehouse receipt system does and what other benefits can accrue in terms of partnerships together with the State Department for Trade, as well as the agencies under that particular state department. And those include the Kenya National Trading Corporation, as well as the Kenya Export Promotion and Branding Agency. Now, just before I begin, we've lined up a number of activities also as part of the build-up towards the investment conference. We've actually put in a request to visit Siaya County within the next 1 week, and specifically on 10th and 11th of March, as part of some initial activity to be able to visit some of the rice farmers, the cooperatives, and also to visit Siriwo rice mill. We believe that will enable us to better align our plans to ensure that as we provide a solution, we're able to align with the priorities of the county government of Siaya. Now, the Warehouse Receipt System Council is an agency under the State Department for Trade. It's charged with the mandate to regulate the licensing of warehouses under the Warehouse Receipt System, regulates the operations of warehouse operators, and then it also handles the securitization of these that are warehoused for purposization, takes through the issuance of a warehouse receipt that is then registered in a central registry that is handled by the Warehouse Receipt System Council. The licensing of these warehouses is carried out by the county government. But in addition to that, we also have the Agriculture and Food Authority, AFA, that also plays a role in terms of ensuring that there's conformity in terms of the warehouses that are being used for aggregation as well as for storage of food products, ensuring that they conform to the standards that are set out by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Now, the standards currently in place have been harmonized across East Africa, and therefore the standards that we use are the East African standards as domesticated in Kenya. Now, the nexus between the warehouse Council and the commodity exchange, the Kenya National Multi-Commodity Exchange, on the exchange, they need to be standardized. And securitized. And then the collateral management that takes place exchange exists physically within a certified warehouse, such that if somebody comes onto the exchange to purchase commodities, they are guaranteed that there will be delivery of commodities, but also that the commodities that they are purchasing conform to standards and grading parameters as indicated on the exchange. The commodity exchange is on the basis of 5A of 2019, and the attendant regulations, which were as the capital markets commodity. These regulations and the Act provide for the licensing of a commodity exchange operator, but they also provide for regulation of the activities that can be carried out, and they provide guarantees to all those participating in the exchange to ensure that not only will there be a guarantee of quality from the exchange, but there will be any financial transactions arising from trade that takes place on the exchange. So our mandate and our regulator requires that as COMEX, we must ensure that
Have we lost you,
a
Dr.
farmer
Fanwell?
or a trader comes to the commodity exchange and offers their commodity for sale, then COMEX is considered as a central enemy. Just confirm that you.
Hello, have we lost you, or I'm the one who is lost?
I can hear you. I don't know whether the rest can hear me.
We can.
Great.
Okay, Waziris, so I will pick up from the point of our mandate and regulator requiring that if a farmer or any trader comes to the exchange to sell or buy any commodities, then we as COMEX are required to act as a central counterparty, which basically means that we are part of that transaction. And therefore, we must guarantee that whoever is selling is paid, and paid in a timely manner. And we must also guarantee that whoever's bought commodities gets physical delivery of those commodities based on the commodities parameters in terms of standards and grading. The reason as to why the commodity exchange was established was to provide a wider market to farmers, especially smallholder farmers who may not have the ability to invest in market development and marketing of their commodities. So by providing a single window through a digital trading platform, COMEX is able to onboard different market participants onto that single window and then provide a forum through which trade can take place in a structured manner and in a regulated manner. Now, just to explain some of the activities that we're currently carrying out and how that would be relevant to Siaya County. During the period September to October, we carried out some initial visits into the neighboring Kisumu County, where we were involved in sensitization and mapping of different value chain actors, and especially rice farmers and cooperatives within their Hero and Kano area. Arising out of that, we've been able to identify 5 initial cooperatives with whom we intend to pilot in terms of onboarding onto the warehouse receipt system and also in terms of trading on the commodity exchange. We've identified together with the cooperatives an average of 20 farmers from each of these cooperatives who will take part in this particular pilot. So next week, on Thursday, we'll be carrying out where we will be about 90 farmers who've been identified through this program and 5 cooperatives on the technology as well as the trading processes within both the system on the commodity exchange that's run. We are training and onboarding of these farmers. We will then work together with a miller. In this case, we've identified Lake Basin Development Authority to provide milling for the paddy rice, and then connect them with off-takers who will ensure that they're able to sell either the rice paddy or the milled rice, but at a significantly improved price. We've carried out some analysis, and our findings are that most of the farmers currently are selling their paddy either at farm gate or at cooperatives where they're aggregated. And the pricing ranges anywhere between 35 shillings and 40 shillings on the higher end. Our analysis indicates that if this rice is milled, then potentially farmers stand to benefit anywhere between 60 and 80% in terms of increased income based on a kg of rice. And if you look at the current market prices, anywhere in excess of 200 shillings per kg. But they will also benefit from the byproducts, which were also mentioned by the previous speaker, which can be sold to animal feed manufacturers. Now, our intention is that during our forthcoming engagements with the Siaya County government and also working towards the investment conference, we'll be able to discuss this analysis also with the farmers in terms of developing a value proposition that ensures that even as Siaya County works to improve the earnings from farmers on the rice value chain, we ensure that we have the necessary data that would inform both the marketing of this produce as well as any financing that would be necessary for farmers to be able to achieve higher incomes in terms of marketing of the produce, of the final produce, and also in terms of input financing. Now, together with the International Finance Corporation, the Warehouse Receipt System Council and COMEX, we've been working together with 11 financial institutions who have all committed to providing warehouse receipt financing. And this will enable any of the farmers and the cooperatives who would like to benefit from any financing, even as a way for prices to improve based on the commodities that they have warehoused, to be able to benefit from that through this particular program. So we're not only seeking to provide a solution in terms of marketing and offtake of the paddy rice, but we are also looking at how can we intervene to assist the farmers and the cooperatives in terms of accessing affordable finance, structured in such a way that it is based on assets, and that asset being the commodity that is warehoused, and not the usual requirements of having to put your title deed to be able to access that finance. So these are some of the solutions that we're coming with. The trading platform is driven by technology. It's a simple technology that anybody can use as long as they have a smartphone or a computer, but it's also integrated to a payment service provider that would ensure that once you've transacted on the exchange, either as a buyer or as someone who is selling, then financial settlement takes place within a very short period of time. So anywhere within the first 24 hours or up to a maximum of 3 days for the payments to be made. And this is based on the regulatory requirements. Now, what we would want to be able to accomplish in Siaya is to be able to engage with the cooperatives that are already in place and the farmers according to their groups within which they work, to begin exposing them to this particular concept of warehouse receipt system in terms of the requirements for standardization of the commodities, but also exposing them to the trading platform on a pilot basis so that we see to what extent we are able to provide value to the farmers, not only in terms of the domestic market, but also in terms of looking at potential export clients who would want to procure these commodities from the farmers. It is not limited to only one particular product. We have the ability to have multiple products being traded on this particular platform. And so the farmers would be able to look at what other commodities that they're producing that they would want to also be able to sell on the platform. And then we'll be able to facilitate that. We'll be able to facilitate price discovery. The farmers would be able to tell prices of the commodity in Siaya, but also in other counties, to enable them to make a decision at what point to sell and at what price. The platform also provides the farmers with the opportunity to be able to have records of their production and sales over time, which would enable them to also access financing. And then it also enables them to access market information based on actual transactions that are taking place on a day-to-day basis, on a real-time basis on the platform. So in brief, that's basically what we are proposing to bring to the people, to the good people of Siaya. We hope to engage with the county government and of course, the private sector, the farmers, the cooperatives, to be able to find a solution that works for all. I submit.
So much, CEO Kidenda. That's a comprehensive presentation of the what we can do to my colleague Waziri Kokoth, if he has something that he would want to comment before we get to answer the question that has been asked on the plenary. Waziri Kokoth, do you have something to talk or to add on what Kidenda have said, because it affects more agriculture? It's an opportunity for our people to really commercialize rice farming, and not only commercialize, but also to have data that can help us improve and make our farming of rice be a better opportunity for Siaya County. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you so much, Waziri Grace. Thank you, Bwana Kidenda, for that very elaborate presentation from on warehouse receipt system. We understand that it is a new concept, and I agree with you that we may need to find time with the rice farmers, cooperative societies, and reduce them by way of sharing with them in detail how this process would make their trading in rice more efficient and would be of value to them both as a cooperative level and at farmers level. I know there have been 2 attempts by some officer from a warehouse receipt system, I've just forgotten the name, to come to see so that we can engage on how we can engage under that platform. But I believe there are opportunities before the international conference where we can share and have practical information on how we can tap into those opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Waziri. What I would want to say is that the warehouse receipting system, if well conceived with Siaya, it will really make work easier, especially for the farmers, and it will empower them, and they'll make decisions on how and where to sell. Thank you so much, CEO Kidenda. We are looking forward in discussing this, and I wanted to understand if it's possible, then you as an agency, you can convene the pre-conference of 25th for rice farming, maybe at one of our sites, preferably Siriwo, or other sites that my colleague might find of interest that we can participate in, so that those people, the investors who would want to invest in rice, they can easily go and see with their own eyes that we are not talking imaginations, but we are talking real farming of rice in Siaya. So that is a consideration. Maybe you don't need to answer me, but we'll talk and discuss. But I thought I need to put it across, unless you have a comment on it, maybe a general comment or a precise one, I would really appreciate.
Thank you, Waziri. I think that's in order. we can have a discussion around that next week when we visit Siaya to begin planning for that.
Thank you so much. There are two questions that have been asked at the plenary.
Waziri, perhaps maybe just your guidance. Are these general questions to everyone, or are they specific to the panelists?
These are general questions that have been asked.
All right, thank you. So I will attempt to answer the first one.
Okay.
The future of agriculture investment is young, and models should be designed to attract the youth. Are there opportunities for collaboration with training institutes, both at tertiary and higher learning, for sustainability of the projects? Yeah, my opinion around this question is that it's very apt. The reality in many counties is that farming, to a large extent, has been the domain of the old. Probably not so much for the youth. We need to have a paradigm shift around this. If we intend to have food sufficiency in the future and also improve on our agriculture, then certainly we need to mainstream the youth into these programs. Now, my own experience is that for the youth today, farming has got to make sense for them to be interested in it. Sense in that they must be able to generate income, an income that is significant enough for them to see it as the preferred career of choice. Now, for us to be able to do that, we have to invest significantly in science of production, to look at our soils, do soil testing, to look at the quality of seeds that are actually available commercially, and then look at climate change, look at issues around sustainability to ensure that production results in high yields, even as we look at the route to market. The best way to be able to achieve this is to have collaboration with training institutions, and especially those that have programs that run agriculture. So I would agree, certainly, that we need to collaborate with training institutes, both at tertiary and higher learning, not only to look at technologies in terms of improving production, but also looking at the science behind production. I could give you an example. I have seen somewhere that sugarcane, for instance, if you go to India, there are certain areas where they're able to get as much as 200 tons per acre. If you look at what we have in the lake region, the averages are quite low, about 24 tons. If you're lucky, you get 40 to 60 tons. But it's all about technology. It's all about technology. It's all about research and development to improve on earnings. If you plow an acre and produce 24 tons, if you plow that same acre and produce 60 tons, your plowing cost is the same, but your earnings are significantly improved if your yields are higher. So that would be my intervention on that particular question. On the second one, I think this is meant for the Waziri that gave his intervention before me. So I'll leave that to the Waziri. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CEO. I think even as a country, we just need to upgrade our training on agriculture. Because, for example, here in Siaya, we have the ATC that currently is owned or is being used by the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University side in agriculture. But when you go there, there's nothing much to show in terms of what they do in agriculture. So I think the training and research, the way you are saying, should really put it in a way that you don't just go to class, but when you come out with something that can indeed create that paradigm shift. So thank you so much for your response. It is indeed us now to take action and make those policies to ensure that agriculture interventions is real to the young ones. Waziri, can you attempt to answer the second question? Okay, seemingly maybe he's having problem with his network.
Grace, are you still there?
I'm lost.
Yes, we lost you for a bit, but you can continue now.
Okay, I don't know at which point I was lost, but I was saying that aggregation gives the strength of investors because at the end of the day, when different farmers have different sizes and they farm the rice, then it can give the industrialization side and also return on investment for an investor. So for those who are interested in farming, especially where there's already irrigation, the size of your land might not determine that you want to farm rice or not. You are free to farm rice, provided that others are also farming rice, because at the end of the day, we have several people farming rice at different sizes, and then we'll have the right quantity commercialized. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
I was saying that the third. Hello.
Please proceed. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. The third question asked again by Rafael Aduda is currently how do paddy yields per acre in Siaya compare to yields in areas like Mwea? This one can be answered by Waziri Kokoth. I do not have the figures, or an agriculture officer who is present in the room can answer this. Hmm? Mr. Rafael Aduda, I do not have that figures. Maybe you give your telephone number. We can get back to you later. Am I lost again? So far, those are the questions we've seen. Anyone who would want to ask a question that is not on the chat? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, if there is no question, I would want to state that the Siaya International Trade and Investment Conference is slated to happen on 25th to 28th. On 25th, there will be a pre-conference day where we are going to have site visits for the potential investment areas. And as I had indicated earlier, we are going to invite the investors and interested parties that will want to go to different stations on that day. And we are looking forward, we are inviting especially the team that is in this webinar to come to the Siaya International Investment Conference on 25th to 28th. We are looking forward to investing in various areas, rice being one of them. We have blue economy. We have the oil crops. We have the fruits. We process even juices. We have also the hides. We can invest in hides. Health. You can invest in health. Tourism. We have Ramogi sites. We have sports. We just launched our stadium the other day. So we have varied areas that we are trying to put across, and we are going to share in this our concept that entails a lot of details in terms of the investment area. So I want to thank each one of us who have participated in this webinar. We are looking forward to other webinars maybe in this week, just to highlight the areas that Siaya County is showcasing and inviting investors to come so that we can onboard them, work together for sustainability and job creation of our people. Any comment?
Thank you. Thank you for such a great webinar. I just wanted to convey my apologies from the PS irrigation. I just chatted him now, and he's still held up at the Deputy President's office. But nevertheless, I was able to represent him. I'll pick the issues, and he will be participating going forward. I thank you.
Thank you too. I also want to appreciate our PS trade. I was also still engaged in the same meeting that the PS irrigation is, and we are looking forward to working together to ensure the success of this conference. I appreciate your attendance. I think time is up. God bless you.